Afternoon, guys. Afternoon.
Okay, folks, we'll have our normal process. We'll go through some of our broadcast rights holders, which will be content that's available to you straight after the finish, the end of that section, and then we'll do a section for tomorrow, which will be available from 10:30 tonight. We are going to start with Rob Dawson from Sky Sports News, please.
Hi, Brendan. How are you doing?
Hi, Rob. Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks. Thank you.
Good man. Lots to go at. Let's start with Johnny Evans. How is he?
Yeah, not as bad as first feared. The scans come through as best as we probably could have hoped for. So, but of course he'll struggle for tomorrow's game, and we'll see where he's at for the weekend.
So he's still not ruled out for the weekend. Then it's still possible, is it? Still
a possibility, yeah.
Okay, that's good news. What's the latest with the COVID inside the camp? Has it spread any further than it was?
No. We've still obviously got a number of players out. In total, we've got 9 players unavailable through obviously COVID and other medical issues. So, but no, in terms of the COVID side of things, we're still where we were.
9 players. That makes things very difficult for you. Have you had discussions with the Premier League? Have you discussed whether you want this game to go ahead?
Yeah, we've looked at that. Unfortunately for us, we weren't granted any dispensation, so which is obviously disappointing. You know, we're a team and a club that have always wanted to support all the measures and everything else, but maybe when you need a little bit of support with the extreme situation that we were in, we weren't able to get that, which is disappointing. But you know, we've tried to maintain the training ground stay open and people function here. We were a big doubt for the game against Newcastle. We all the issues and problems that we had, but because of the greater good of the game and the supporters and we obviously played the game. But since then, we've picked up a couple more injuries as well that are maybe not directly from COVID, but they're certainly COVID related, because players that are unavailable to play are having to, the players that are picking up injuries because we can't rotate the squad in the team. So it's a really, really, like I said before, real challenging time for us. But whatever team will play out, we'll always put it out to do our very best.
So just to be clear, Brandon, you did apply to the Premier League for this game to be postponed, and they refused?
Well, certainly to look at it for us, yeah.
Okay. Look, Steven Gerrard has said that Villa will look at the vaccination status of potential transfer targets that he's looking at in January. What do you make of that? Is that something you can relate to?
Speak to me in January on it.
It's a fair enough answer. You've got enough on your plate at the minute, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, look. Looking at the fixtures and the schedule, 7 games in 20 days, including the one that's just happened on Sunday. How difficult is that? I mean, you've hinted at it there, but is there absolutely no chance for you to rest players and plan for 2 games hence then? You're literally game by game here, are you?
Yeah, game by game. If you look at the close proximity of the next 5 games, you've got 5 games in 13 days. Like you say, we get Tottenham and tomorrow, Everton Sunday, Wednesday Liverpool, Sunday Manchester City, Tuesday Liverpool. So it's an incredible run of games, and that's a challenging fixture list at any time when you have a full squad. But with the numbers that we have, of course, it's extremely challenging. But one thing we've always tried to do is respect the competition and get on with it, and that's exactly what we'll do.
So is the reality here you're going to have to play some very young players who perhaps have never played for the first team before over the coming couple of weeks?
We may do. And we had like Casey McAteary made his first sort of Premier League appearance at the weekend, and that's something that I love. I love giving young players an opportunity. But what's also really important, you can also deter a young player in his career by putting them in too early. It's not just about having players available and having young players. They have to have the right qualities, and they have to be at the right stage of their temperament and mentality to be given the opportunity. Otherwise, you can actually really put them back in their career. So, but it's an opportunity. We've got enough players to start the game, and then we'll have numbers of players on the side that can make an impact, and we'll have some young players that we'll give an opportunity to.
Dean Smith told me last night after the game against Villa that he wanted some clarity here, that if they have a certain number of players unavailable, a game should automatically be postponed. I mean, look, the Premier League have said that's a difficult situation and it's more nuanced than that. It's not quite that straightforward. But do you understand where Dean Smith is coming from? Do you think if there's a certain number of players you have unavailable because of COVID and injuries, you ought to be automatically able to postpone a match?
I think so. For the integrity of the competition, I think it's important. You know, I'm pretty sure there will have been games called off with less players than what we have available. I would be pretty confident that would be the case. But for ourselves, we weren't given that privilege to be able to allow players to come back and have a fit squad. So yeah, I think it would be nice if there's a bit more clarity around that, especially at a stage where it's a very, very test and trying time this time of the year anyway. Like I say, when you have a fully fit squad, but to not be given that support, it's a little disappointing.
Well, last one from me, and I'm sorry it's all been on one subject really, but I think you can appreciate how important it is. You're at the pointy end of it, but do you want to tell us any other names that are unavailable right now, and without specifying obviously which guys have got COVID and which ones haven't?
No, it's a similar group of players that that have been out, that will continue to be out. We picked up an injury as well. We saw Yonko, so he will be unavailable for the game as well. And we'll see where he's at for the weekend. Again, a player having to play more than we would want because of people unavailable. So he won't be. Daniel Amarte is back available, but he's only returned after a period of time out, so we can't consider him to start the game. But apart from that, it will be the same squad minus Johnny and Cags.
Well, I said that was the last one. One more, Brendan. You're hugely experienced in this game. You've been in charge of a lot of clubs. Is this about as tough as you've ever known it?
It's not that bad, Rob.
Is it not really? Nine out and
no. Listen,
you've had worse.
Well, no. Listen, we're doing a job that we love. You know, you're obviously it's your job to make it sound very dramatic and trying to pick me up off the floor. I'm very, very fortunate to work in an amazing job at an amazing club with an incredible group of players. So there's a lot more difficult things in life, Rob, than having players unavailable to play a football game. But we'll do our best, and like for me, it's we just get on with it.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We'll go to Paul Beverston for PLP, please.
Thank you very much. Brendan.
Hi, Paul.
Hi there. Very, very positive there. I wonder if you've had this wretched luck all through the season with injuries. When you do keep a clean sheet for the first time in a long time at the weekend and then still have two more defenders pick up injuries, are you privately able to be as positive as you were there, or do you want to go home and give the furniture a bit of a kicking for a bit?
No, I'm not like that at all. I just think it's an opportunity for someone else. We have to be creative with the squad, and like I say, we've prepared right the way through to play the game. I'm really happy with the team that will choose to play the game, and like I say, there'll be opportunities for some of our younger players to be involved, getting experiences of being in and around the Premier League. And as I said, we had Casey McAteer at the weekend who came in and he got some game time, and that will really help and aid his development. So no, I'm obviously always optimistic. I think it's an important way to be, and like I say, we would love to have all the players that are out available. That would certainly make us a lot stronger. But they're not. So we work with the players that are available, and we'll look to get a result tomorrow.
You had Yuri Tielemans come back with a bang at the weekend in Premier League terms. How, I want to say, how much do you miss him? But then that's that sort of playing down the impact of other players. What difference does he make when he is around and at his best?
Yeah, I think he was one of a number of players that played to a high level at the weekend, and yeah, Yuri gives you he gives you that experience in the team. His courage to take the ball, his knowledge of the game inside the game is very good. I can rely on him 150%, knowing that he knows what he's doing inside the football game. So, and like I say, he's very effective and efficient in the game. He creates goals, he scores goals, and he's added a defensive side to his game over these last couple of seasons, which is very important, which makes him a real complete midfield player. So I'm delighted to have him back. A great guy and wonderful player.
How about your next opponents, Tottenham? When they have played recently, what have you made of their progress under Antonio Conte?
Yeah, I think it's going to take time for Antonio coming in, putting the system in place. It always takes that little period of time. Of course, you can see the changes, and with very little training time. That's the other thing I may add. It's a very difficult moment to. It's not like pre-season where you have a period of 5 to 6 weeks to really ingrain your methods and your standards. But yeah, you can see the adaptation and how they're working, and Antonio's been a back three, and whether it's 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 in front of that, it's pretty much been that structure. So I'm sure over time he'll look to improve it and develop it. They've had a couple of positive results over these last few games, and they'll want to continue with that, I'm sure.
Harry Kane has a remarkable record against Leicester. He's been very quiet so far this season, but from what you've seen, are there little things that opponents are doing any differently that you can you can grab hold of to keep him quiet for another game?
No, for me, he's a world-class player, Harry, and he has been for a number of years now. And when you have that quality and the mindset that he has, then you go into every game believing that you can score. So yeah, no, we have to do our very best to stop him. He's a big talent and been a real catalyst for Tottenham over these numbers of years. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it that way tomorrow.
Go well, Brendan. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Owen Palmer-Atkin, please.
Hi there, Brendan. Hope you're okay.
Hi, on. Yeah, good.
You mentioned the injury to Charles Soyuncu, and I know you said that he felt something just after the game on Sunday. What is that injury exactly, and how long do you expect him to be out with that for?
Well, it depends. We'll see how his recovery goes over the next few days. You can look at it, and it could have been up to a week or so between that 7 and 11 days. But it all depends on the individual how they recover. I think if you watch the game back, you'll see it was right towards the end of the game. He'd gone up for a corner, and then he was sprint back, and just right at the very tail end of it, he just put his hand down and felt that sort of tiredness and issue in his hamstring. So yeah, he's played a lot of games, a lot of game time, and yeah, we'll just have to assess it between now and the weekend to see if he's available.
You mentioned, of course, some of the players who, like Daniel Amati, who's maybe coming back from a period of time away. Are any of the players that tested positive for coronavirus or was part of that group that were unwell, are any of those back in contention, or is it still too soon for those players to be back because of isolation rules or illness or whatever it is?
Yeah, there's none of them back. There's only Daniel that's just returned back to train with the squad today.
How far away is James Justin, Brendan, from being available for selection?
Yeah, a little bit of time. So again, he's a player that's off at the moment. He's had no luck over these last couple of weeks. He's worked so hard, and he's come back earlier than we anticipated. But I'm pretty sure after this, throughout this Christmas period, whether he's going to be available or not, we'll see. But certainly moving into the second part of this season, he's going to be a great addition for us, and hopefully then he can get a rhythm of games and get back to his level.
when you look at those names and you see Johnny out with an injury, Charles Suunchu, Daniel Amati, I don't need to reel off the names, Brendan, but they're all central defenders. Of course, Wesley Fofana and, as you say, Daniel Amati not out out at the moment as well. That is a big proportion of one position that have been made unavailable to you over and increased over the last couple of weeks. You said you had to be creative in your team selection, but how do you do that, I suppose, with almost a lack of central defenders at your disposal at the moment?
Yeah, it's seeing the players that we have, and you know, we brought in players that are multifunctional as well, that can play in a couple of positions. So we have to be able to assess that. But like I say, we'll always put out a team that'll be competitive, that they'll be organised, and look to play how we want to play. So I've a great belief in the players that are available, that whatever team we put out will give us a chance to get a result.
Final one from me, Brendan, but Tottenham have had a bit of a turbulent week as well. How difficult does it make it, sort of the task preparing to face them, whether you had COVID problems or not? They are a side who, I suppose, when you look at the players, it might be difficult to see who might be able to be selected for them, but also your preparation for yourself. It must have been a really tough week to prepare for a Premier League game.
Well, we've had limited time, of course, after Sunday where you're recovering, but we're certainly able to analyse footage of the previous games, and I think one of the things you look to do when you're preparing a team is looking to anticipate what team they might play, what changes they might make. I think with Antonio, the structure of the team is pretty much set in 3-4-3, and you know, following his coaching career, that's proved successful for him. So we pretty much know what that will be. Then it's just a case of then trying to figure out the possibilities in terms of players playing in different positions. So, but whatever team they have, we know it'll be a team of quality. They've got real good depth in their squad, and they'll be be a challenge for us.
Brendan, thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, we've probably got time for one more. Is it just one?
Yeah, it's just one. Yeah.
Mark.
Hi, Brendan. Hope you're well.
Hi, Mark.
We're on the eve of vaccination passports, or COVID passports, however you want to phrase it, being used at the King Power. I just wanted to, forgive me if you've been asked this before, you perhaps have many times, what your view is on them being used tomorrow, and is it any reassurance for you that fans will be having to go through this process to watch the match?
Yeah, my take on it is, Mark, is that it's anything really that helps the fans and keep the people safe, whilst being able to have supporters in the stadium, you know, and having the stadiums full, then that's a positive, because we wouldn't like to go back to playing in empty stadiums. We've been back in now, and we get that sense of it as managers and players, the difference that the supporters bring to the games. So if we have to put these measures in place that is going to keep everyone safe and well, then that has to be a positive.
Thanks, Brendan, and good luck for tomorrow.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We've drawn the broadcast section there, so that section's ready to go now. Thank you to our broadcast colleagues. We'll pick back up with the dailies in a few moments.
Let's go.